Hello everyone. Today let us discuss the concept of eustress and distress. In this session, we will try to answer some questions like what is the concept of eustress and distress? What are its features? What are the benefits of eustress and cost of distress? Before getting into the details of the concept, let us start with a discussion on the concept of stress. So tell me, what is stress? Did you think about it? Find out if your answer is similar to what I am going to tell you. In contemporary societies, majority of people seems to talking about stress and its various consequences. Hans Seyle first introduced the concept of stress into the life science in 1936. He defined stress as the force, pressure or strain exerted upon a material object or a person which resists these forces and attempt to maintain its original state. Stress is ubiquitous in our society. It has become an integral part of everyday living. Stress on individuals ranges from personal day-to-day life to their organizational activities. Urbanization, industrialization, and increase in scale of operations in the society are causing increasing stresses. Individuals' reaction to severe stress has become the major concern of the stress researchers in different disciplines such as psychology, psychiatry, medical sciences, physiology, and management. These researchers have established that high and consistent stress is unpleasant and undesirable, and it leads a variety of physiological and somatic pathologies. Stress is the spice of life, and the absence of some degree of stress make life dull, monotonous, and spiritless. Stress may be considered as a situation of tension experienced by individuals facing extraordinary demands. The word stress, an outcome of a Latin language word stringer, which means to draw tight, is a consequence of or a general response to an action or situation that places special physical or psychological demands or both on a person. Stress is a subject which is hard to avoid. Right from the time of birth till the last breath drawn, every individual is subjected to various stressful situations. Stress involves the interaction of a person and that person's environment. Any demands, either physical or psychological in nature, encountered during the course of living is called stresses. Scientists often find it useful to distinguish the stresses in terms of how long-lasting they are, which includes acute stresses, episodic stresses, and chronic stresses. Acute stresses are those that bring some form of sudden change that threatens us either physically or psychologically, requiring people to make unwanted adjustments. For example, you may be assigned to a different shift at work, requiring you to get up earlier in the morning and to eat meals at different times. As your body's equilibrium is disrupted, you respond physiologically, example by being tired, and emotionally, example by being grouchy. Episodic stresses are the result of experiencing several acute stresses in a short period of time, such as when you have one of those days in which everything goes wrong. In other words, you are experiencing particularly stressful episodes in life. This would be the case, for example, if within the course of a week you have a serious disagreement with one of your subordinates, you lose a major sales account, and then to top it off, the pipes burst in your office, causing water to ruin your important papers and your computer. For a list of some of the most common episodic stresses. Chronic stresses are the most extreme type of stressor because they are constant and unrelenting in nature, having a long-term effect on the body, mind, and spirit. For example, a person experiences chronic stresses if he or she is in a long-term abusive relationship with a boss or spouse or has a debilitating disease, example, arthritis or migraine headaches, that adversely affect his or her ability to work. In recent years, in which layoffs have been common, people have suffered stress due to considerable uncertainties about their future. Whereas acute stresses tend to be of a brief duration, chronic stresses endure for a long period of time. Episodic stresses generally last for intermediate periods of time. Stresses can take a variety of forms, but all stresses have one thing in common. They create stress or the potential for stress when an individual perceiving them as representing a demand that may exceed his or her ability to respond. Stress and anxiety have become pervading feature of people's life in modern world. Despite tremendous advancement in science and technology and remarkable growth of economy and source of luxury, majority of people all over the world seems to be experiencing moderate to high degree of psychological stress in various spheres of their lives. Consequently, increasing rate of psychosomatic and psychological disorders and feeling of frustration and dissatisfaction with life in general reflect the high stress being experienced by the people in the present day world. Ever increasing needs and aspirations, high competition, pressure of meeting deadlines, and uncertainty of future, and weakened social support system have made the life of majority of people highly stressful in modern societies. The reaction to intense psychological stress has become a major concern of psychological, psychiatric, and medical investigations. The modern world, which is a world of achievement, is also a world of stress. Stress has engulfed as burning issue in modern society. It connotes negative meaning and implies threatening or challenging situations. The consequences of stress is a deviation from the existing physical and psychological condition of human life. Stress is often termed as 20th century syndrome, burnout of man's race towards modern progress and its ensuing complexities. At one point or the other, everybody suffers from stress. Stress has become a part of day-to-day living of every individual. On the one side, stress provides the means to express talents and energies and pressure happiness, while on the other, it can also cause exhaustion and illness, either physical or psychological. According to Kalia 2002, an estimate of the World Health Organization Global Burden of Disease survey shows that mental health disease, including stress-related disorder, will be the second leading cause of disabilities by the year 2020. A survey in 2007 by Associated Chamber of Commerce and Industry of India also reported that work-related stress and mental fatigue is affecting the Indian employees. Seyle, the father of stress and a medical doctor, 1974, divided stress into two stresses which depends on the outcome or response to stress as follows. 1. Distress means the individual experiences negative emotions such as anxiety or worry. Second, eustress pertains to an exciting event stimulating a person to feel glad or happy. First, let us see the concept of eustress. Eustress is a term coined by endocrinologist Hans Selle. The word eustress consists of two parts. The prefix eu derives from the Greek word meaning either well or good. When attached to the word stress, literally means good stress. Eustress was originally explored in stress model by Richard Lazarus. It is a positive cognitive response to stress that is healthy or gives one a feeling of fulfillment or other positive feeling. Selle created the term as a subgroup of stress to differentiate the wide variety of stresses and manifestations of stress. Eustress is not defined by the stressor type, but rather how one perceives that stressor. Example, negative threat versus a positive challenge. Eustress refers to a positive response one has to a stressor which can depend on one's current feelings of control, desirability, location, and timing of the stressor. Potential indicators of eustress may include responding to a stressor with a sense of meaning, hope, or vigor. Eustress has also been positively correlated with life satisfaction and well-being. This is a type of positive stress that keeps us vital and excited about life. Eustress is actually important for us to have in our life. Without it, we would become depressed and perhaps feel a lack of meaning in life. Not striving for goals, not overcoming challenges, not having a reason to wake up in the morning would be damaging to us. So, eustress is considered a good stress. It keeps us healthy and happy. Eustress also reminds us that we can view many of the stresses in our lives as challenges rather than threats and have extra vital energy to handle these stresses without a feeling of being overwhelmed or unhappy. Let us see the characteristics of eustress or positive stress. Motivates, focuses energy, is short term, is perceived as within our coping abilities, feels exciting, improves performance. Then we have a few examples which are most often perceived as eustress. meeting or engaging a challenge, desired physical exercise, example weight training, running, biking, playing sports, watching a suspenseful or a scary movie, riding a roller coaster, competing in a tournament, gambling. Examples of positive personal stresses include receiving a promotion or raise at work, starting a new job, marriage, buying a home, having a child, moving, taking a vacation, holiday seasons, retiring, taking educational classes or learning a new hobby. Then let us see the concept of distress. Distress is an aversive state in which a person is unable to adapt completely to stresses and their resulting stress and shows maladaptive behaviors. Stress can be created by influences such as work, school, peers or co-workers, family and death. Other influences vary by age. Distress may appear either when stresses are too strong or moderately strong to weak but frequent. Whether a certain stressor will turn into distress and to what extent depends greatly on one's own physical and mental resistance, which is different for every individual. This means that distress is the opposite of eustress, a positive stress that motivates people. People under constant distress are more likely to become sick mentally or physically. People often find ways of dealing with distress in both negative and positive ways. Examples of positive ways are listening to music, calming exercise, sports and similar healthy distractions. Negative ways can include but are not limited to use of drugs including alcohol and expression of anger, which are likely to lead to complicated social interactions, thus causing increased distress. Then what are the features of distress or negative stress? Causes anxiety or concern, can be short or long term, is perceived as outside of our coping abilities, feels unpleasant, decreases performance, can lead to mental and physical problems. Some examples of negative personal stresses include the death of a spouse, filing for divorce, losing contact with the loved ones, the death of a family member, hospitalization, oneself or family member, injury or illness, oneself or family member, being abused or neglected, separation from a spouse or a committed relationship partner, conflict in interpersonal relationship, bankruptcy, money problems, unemployment, sleep problems, children's problem at school, legal problems. Work and employment concerns such as those listed below are some frequent causes of distress. Excessive job demands, job insecurity, conflict with the teammates and supervisors, inadequate authority necessary to carry out tasks, lack of training necessary to do the job, making presentations in front of colleagues or clients, unproductive and time-consuming meetings, commuting and travel schedules. Common internally caused source of distress include fears, example fears of flying heights, public speaking, chatting with strangers at a party, repetitive thought patterns, worrying about future events, example waiting for medical test result or job restructuring, unrealistic perfectionist expectations. Habitual behavior patterns that can lead to stress include overscheduling, failing to be assertive, procrastination and or failing to plan ahead. Then let us see the benefits of eustress and cost of distress. Benefit of eustress based on performance are increased arousal and bursts of physical and mental strength, cardiovascular efficiency and enhanced focus in emergency. Cost of distress on individual basis are psychological disorders, medical illness and behavioral problems. On an organizational basis, participation problems, performance decrements and compensation awards. To conclude, now that we have discussed the concept of eustress and distress, its features with examples, benefit of eustress and cost of distress. I hope you have understood these two concepts and how it is different from one another. Hoping to meet you again. I am Lijeesh signing off.